Hi there and welcome to everybody who's logged on through the website or anybody on YouTube who's floating around. One of the things that I think is important about any equipment that's used either in bushcraft, survival, military, one of the things that's important in my opinion is that manufacturers of this equipment keep up with modern technology and ideas, and probably most importantly ideas that are given to them by the consumer, i.e. they act on those suggestions. Well, one of those products is, well, one of those manufacturers is Camelbak, and that's what this little video information product demonstration is all about, and in particular the Motherlode Antidote, the Camelbak Motherlode Antidote. So without further ado, what we'll do is crack on with the demonstration and show you around this system. So moving on, first things first, what they've managed to do, well, Camelbak have managed to do, which is brilliant, is they've managed to actually reduce the weight of this system from the old Motherlode by 35%. How have they done this? Well, basically the whole system, without actually compromising on the strength of the Camelbak, they've used 500 denier nylon over the 1000 denier nylon they used to use on the old Motherlode. Moving around, first things first, what you've got here on the front is a molly system, or it's got molly tape. So this then allows you to introduce extra pouches to the system, which then in turn increases the volume. And this sort of molly idea is now becoming incorporated, if you like, into all rucksacks, day sacks and military systems. The first pocket that we come to, well, just before we do that, you'll notice there's also got a Velcro panel up here, so you can stick various badges, if you're in the military, certainly blood groups, etc., on that Velcro panel. The first pocket we come to is an admin pocket. I call it the admin pocket. You've got a mesh pocket here, which is obviously zippable, so you can zip it up and down and keep everything secure. You've also got a GPS, if you like, and mobile phone pocket, along with pen pockets, and two generous sleeves here for keeping documentation. They've even incorporated, which is very good of them, a little hook, so you can maybe hook that to your phone or your GPS so that it doesn't go wayward inside the pocket. The top here on the roof, you've got a roof pocket. Put whatever you wish or whatever you will in there. Camelbak obviously have created this system predominantly for the military, and they've advised that you can put things like NVGs, goggles and glasses into this pocket. I say put whatever you want in there. As is the norm, you've got a standard carrying handle which is robust at the top, and just in front of that you've got the main body, if you like, of the Motherlode. Now, to access this properly, you need to unclip the two side compression straps. This then allows you full access into the main cavity. Once again, you've got yourself a mesh pocket here that you can zip up, unzip and zip up to keep all your bits and bobs secure. And you've then got a very generous cavity in here for keeping all your equipment. One point on this, at the bottom of this cavity you've actually got a drainage hole, so if you are using this in wet temperate climate or in the jungle, yeah, just be aware of that. Obviously, in my opinion, all your kit that's inside this Motherlode should be waterproofed in waterproof bags anyway. And you've also got another sleeve here where you could in theory keep another bladder. On the side of the system, as I say, we've just undone the compression strap to get inside the main compartment. This is fully adjustable, so you can either have the Motherlode fully expanded, or by pulling this tight you can really compress it up. Also, again, just a little bit of molly strapping on the side. You'll also notice that you've got a Velcro panel here which gives you, through a slit, access into the main body. You can either use that if you're in the military for antenna or rehydration tube. You've got one on that side, and you've also got one on this side. On the back of the system you've got two generous shoulder straps with a sternum strap. This sternum strap can be fully adjusted, not only across the chest but also up and down the chest depending on your size. A little bit awkward, but as you can see from that slides up and down. The back of the system has been ergonomically designed so that it allows air to flow around your back, so hopefully that's going to avoid you getting a sweaty back. And you've got a very, very generous pad here at the base of your back. Now, the thing that I love about this, again, having Camelbak, having paid attention to detail, you don't always, although it's very nice to have a hip pad, you don't always need a hip pad. Well, Camelbak have taken that into consideration. But before we go there, the buckle on here actually adjusts both ways. So, getting back to the hip pad. So you don't want it. Well, quite simply, if you don't want it, you can remove it. Quite simply, undo the buckle, undo the straps on either side, slide your hand inside. Inside there is a generous piece of Velcro. Detach that Velcro from the hip pad and then quite simply remove it. So now you don't have a hip pad. So if you need it, you can use it. If you don't want it, quite simply remove it. Getting onto the meat of the Camelbak rehydration system, the Antidote. Inside here we actually have the bladder. I'm just going to pull it straight out. Now you'll notice that this is the back of the bladder. That's been done on purpose by myself. If I'm carrying systems like this, turning them around, I don't really want either the base of the tube or the cap sticking in my back, or be there any danger of it sticking in my back, so I always load the system or the actual bladder itself that way around so that I've got something smooth against my back. The base of the tube is detachable, quite simple and straightforward on that one. All you do is you just press the button, and remove the tube. On the other end of the tube you have, as is the norm, a dust cap and an on-off switch. Let's face it, we've all been there where we've actually left that switched on, lent on our tube and it's emptied itself. The good thing about this is that if the bite valve becomes contaminated, all you do is you press the button, remove it and then replace it with a new one. Removing the bladder is quite straightforward. Very, very simple little nylon strap here. All you do is you just slide it to the top there. It's always a little bit fiddly when you're on demo or demoing it. Sod's law. Slide that in there, off you come. Right, there you go. Now, one of the things that a lot of people complained about on the old bladder from Camelbak was that this filler cap, you had to unturn to twist it off. You had to turn it and basically untwist, untwist, untwist just to get it off. They've thought about it, they've listened to the consumer, and all you do now is quite simply 1/4 turn and it's off. You fill up your bladder, which incidentally is basically, this is the way where the name Antidote comes from. The actual rubber has been treated, so the water you put in there is already starting to be purified. To do the cap, or to put the cap back on, you simply locate it and then twist. And twist it into place. One thing to note on here, you'll notice that the bladder has been sealed down the center. Very clever. This is basically just stop the bladder from being, once it's full, stops it from becoming misshaped, and it also stops the liquids inside the bladder from sloshing around. So let's just clip that back on and stow them away. As I say, I always stow mine facing outwards. One last thing about the system itself. Inside this particular compartment where the bladder goes is actually water resistant, so should the bladder become damaged or wet, it's not going to soak through to your equipment in the main body of the Motherlode. So there you go. The Camelbak Motherlode Antidote. Camelbak, a company that listens to the consumer. I actually think this is one of the best systems that they've produced. Yeah, whether you're military, survival, bushcraft, we all know that in those kind of situations you can't afford to compromise in the equipment that you use, and therefore Camelbak have listened, yeah, and they've come up with something that is robust and extremely well thought out. So as a system, yeah, I think this is first class. I certainly think it's worth the spondoolies that you would have to spend to purchase it. Yeah, and as we always say, buy cheap, buy twice. So there you go, that's the Camelbak Motherlode Antidote. Thanks very much indeed for watching. Cheers.